Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. Today, we're going to continue giving our predictions division by division. And today, the AFC East. And we're going to start with the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, we are one of my sweetheart teams. When me and Jay first started doing this, we were covering the playoffs last year. And the Buffalo Bills were my team to go to the Super Bowl. It was only their loss to Kansas City that I got wrong, I think, apart from it was only their loss to Tampa. That was my first one that I got wrong. And I absolutely love them. And that's good for us because we're very cordial and stuff, but we do things very differently because Jay absolutely hates them, thanks to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, hate's probably a strong word because I love the Bills Mafia, okay? I do. I love their fan base. But I'm petty, and I hate the way that happened with Stephon Diggs. And so the fact is, as long as he's a Bill, I hope they never win another game again, except I got them going 13-4. So it looks like I'm going to have to cry 13 times this year.
Yeah, I've got them actually going 15-2. So you might have an even worse feeling if my predictions are correct. Yeah, the way that I look at them is they're a high-octane offense with one of the best young quarterbacks, if not just one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We'll see if his good year last year can kind of carry on. I believe in him. I really like him. They paid him a lot of money, so hopefully for them it'll carry on. And a really well-coached defense under Sean McDermott that'll carry them a long way. Look, they didn't have the best defensive line last year. They really struggled to rush the passer, but I think they will have addressed that over the season, the offseason and the preseason kind of stuff, because it was their one thing to address. So you would have thought that they could put a lot of time into addressing that kind of thing, especially with Sean McDermott, who's a defensive coach. They drafted Gregory Rousseau, who is probably not the best in terms of technique and stuff, but the guy's an absolute freak. So sometimes you just need a freak on the defensive line. And if the rest of your defensive line's well coached, then you can just set him off to see what he does. And they've got a really nice schedule as well. Obviously, they've got 2 wins from the Jets. They've got just some nice teams and in some nice scenarios as well. Like they're facing the Jags kind of early. They're facing Washington kind of early. I'd rather face Washington early than late, I think. They've got it a bit easier. They're facing the Dolphins early as well. We'll talk about the Dolphins in a bit as well. So I think they've got a nice schedule layout as well as a really high quality team. I don't want to just say, they've got an easy schedule, so they'll be fine. But,
right.
They're a massive team, and I've got them 15-2. The losses that I've got them are the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Now, my New England Patriots is because it's in Foxborough. It's going to be freezing cold, and I know Josh Allen played in Wyoming, so he'll be totally fine with that. And Buffalo's freezing cold as well. But their run game wasn't the strongest last year, whereas the Patriots are just looking like power, so they're going to kind of run the ball off the clock. What are your losses? Who else have you got them losing? I've got one, I think.
I got the Chiefs. I got them losing to the Chiefs. I got them losing to the Titans.
Yeah, that was my. I've got an L crossed out and turned that into a W next to them.
And then I got them losing to the Buccaneers, but I also have them either losing to the Colts or the Saints. I have them losing one of those games. I went back and forth. I have some faith in Jameis. I think he's going to be really, really good in that offense. I think Peyton will get him to stop turning the ball over. And I think Carson Wentz is going to thrive where he is too. And because they're later in the season, I think it gives Jameis time to get used to playing with them. And I get Carson back, get him back into the flow of playing. And I think Carson feels good. And I think that it's the first time Carson feels good about playing football for the team he's on in a couple years. So I have him splitting one of those two, but I have Tom beating him in Tampa. And then I don't know, the Titans, man. I think the Titans, the Bills, the Browns, and the Chiefs are the AFC.
Yeah, and I mean we had them we spoke about them in the Bucks segment of the NFC South show. So if you haven't watched the NFC South video, then go check that out because we talk about all of that. And Jay's feeling about Jameis Winston, my feelings about Jameis Winston, all of that. That's all in the NFC South show. So go check that out as well. You can watch us twice in one evening, believe it or not. That's totally fine.
How fucking lucky are you?
A full hour of us. Wow. um, yeah, my feelings about them being the Bucks is kind of the Bucks are a bit toward like they'll have won their division already pretty much. Like if things go as we think they're going, whereas the Bills are still finding out with the Patriots. Now, I'm not saying that the Bucks are going to slouch off, but I'm just saying it's already going to be a really close game with the Bills anyway, so it could just go either way, kind of thing.
And for me, so just to put this out there, when people say, "Are you a gambler?" No, I'm not a gambler, but do I gamble? Yes, because I only bet little bits to make some things a little exciting because I refuse to lose good money, right?
Yeah.
So I'll make $10 bets, and at the most you will ever get me to do is like when we were in Vegas, it was almost you couldn't lose because you got your money back to bet if you bet the 50. That's my betting life, right? That's a game I would not bet on right now. Like,
of course you won't get good enough odds. Yeah, you won't get good enough odds, but there's lots of teams where you can see that, and there's like you'll probably get good odds for the Titans to beat. You probably get good odds for the Titans to beat the Bills, so I would take the Titans there.
But the Bucks and the Bills
are going to win.
They could be on a neutral field with even game, and I still wouldn't feel comfortable enough to bet, but I would cheer for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, they're two really similar teams, and
Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver, even though I shit on him. You know,
Stephon Diggs is probably one of the best. They also got that Marquise Stevenson guy that I was absolutely raving about in our draft picks to play on that team. Probably play some slot. He's really quick. He'll probably have a burst out season. There's a lot to like about the Bills. They're a really, really good team, and I think they've got the talent that a lot of other teams have. They're just well coached with it as well. So that's a bit different with the Bills from that standpoint as well. I have confidence in Sean McDermott to fix that defensive line.
Well, so we're going to move on to the Patriots. Before you get into all of your thoughts, I just got to ask right off the bat, because this is the team that intrigues me the most in this division.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got their record?
Yeah, so 11-6 is why I'm sat with.
I'm telling you, we're always close, but we're always different. Like I'm 10
a couple of games off. Yeah,
I'm 10-7. So like either way.
Yeah. The Patriots, man, they're going to be a weird team to kind of figure out for quite some time. I think like I've got them losing to the Dolphins first up, like opening week.
I have a split. I didn't know which way, but I had a split. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think with Mac Jones, he's gonna have highs and lows. I like Mac Jones. I like what they did. Anybody saying it's nothing to do with vaccination status and stuff like that is deluded. And we'll probably make a video on vaccinations and stuff like that.
Do you like Mac Jones more as a Patriot than you would in other teams? Except for maybe I like Mac Jones more with a Bill Belichick or Kyle Shanahan type than I would just on any team. Whereas I feel like Josh Allen, you could have thrown on any team, Patrick Mahomes, not to take away from Andy Reid's greatness. But do you agree with that he's in the best spot?
Yeah, that's kind of our argument with whenever we're picking our best quarterbacks and stuff like that. It's talent versus system and how smart they are. And I think Mac Jones is a really smart guy, and I think you can put him in the more complex systems. Like I would rather see him in all the most complex systems in the NFL. If he went to the Saints, I'd be confident with him at the Saints. If he's at the Patriots, I'm confident with him at the Patriots. I reckon he can run the Chiefs offense really well. I mean, obviously, Patrick Mahomes gives different dynamics and stuff like that.
I just feel more comfortable with Mac Jones where he is than I would have in Chicago or Detroit or something like that.
Well, I think all quarterbacks will be more comfortable in New England than behind the Bears offensive line at the minute. But,
I was talking more of the coaches, but absolutely, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but of course I'd rather have Mac Jones in New England and Justin Fields in Chicago rather than the other way around. I would much prefer it that way around, and that's the way around that it is. With Mac Jones, I can see him having like ups and downs this season. But he will never get in the way of the system. He's not like you'll be kind of annoyed at him in the way that you're annoyed at Tua. Like Tua doesn't kill a game for you. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, but he leaves so many yards out on the field when he's not thrown into tight gaps and stuff like that. So those games when they're not going to be able to run the ball, it's will they be able to take advantage of what's given to them? That kind of idea. They're going to be playing a lot of power this season, and the tight end pairing of Hunter Henry and John Jude Smith, will be great. Like that'll be great for him to just throw to.
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
You're starting to sound like me with the words now. You're the one who pronounces shit right. For me, so I almost went 9-7-1. Okay, I literally, but I didn't want to call a tie. I have your Cowboys almost tying with the Patriots. Okay,
yeah,
and I would have had, and I ended up giving the Cowboys the win in that game. But I almost gave it to the Patriots because it was at home. Does that make sense? Like, so
I hit the Cowboys with an L in that game because I don't trust their run defense. But if the Cowboys' run defense is as good as I hope and think it is due to their linebacker core, then I can see them beating the Patriots in that game. Any team where they're going to struggle to run the ball. That's why they've got the win over the Bills, because they're able to run the ball, and the Bills aren't the best at kind of defending the run and stuff like that. They've got an L to the Titans because the Titans will just run the ball on them and they're good at stopping the run. That kind of team, like the Chicago Browns. Chicago wish they were the Browns at the minute. The Cleveland Browns, they're going to be an L for me because they're going to run the ball on them and control the clock. It's all about who's going to control the game against the Patriots. And when you have Bill Belichick in your corner, chances are if he's able to control the game, then he's going to get the win.
I think the only place we might differ, so I'm going to ask, I have the Colts beating the Patriots.
I'm not as confident on the Colts due to, I think Carson Wentz has drawn some unnecessary attention to himself. He's caused some harm that he doesn't need to cause by his vaccination stance. And hey, everybody's entitled to their vaccination stance and stuff like that. But when you're fighting for your career, is that really what you want to have in the back of your mind? Like having to do those tests every day. Like you can still say you're anti-vaccination but get the vaccination, if you know what I mean. Like just to make your life easy because you're fighting for your career. But yeah,
well, as a Vikings fan, we're one of the least vaccinated teams, so don't get me started on that. But for me, I just think they're going to end up running the ball down the Patriots' throat with all those running backs. Yeah. And why is there star left guard who has the same injury as Carson Wentz? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The Colts just drafted him 2 years ago. But whatever. Once he's back, I feel better about the offensive line. I feel better. And I don't think that they're going to put as much on Carson Wentz as people think. I think you're going to see the same offense that the Eagles ran when they won the Super Bowl.
I think if Carson Wentz
and T.Y. will be back by then too.
Yeah, so if Carson Wentz is who he was like 2 or 3 years ago, then
I think they're going to start rough, but I think they have an easy enough schedule to like calm the water. So I think by the time they see the Patriots, they're going to be clicking. But I could be completely wrong. They could be garbage, and the Patriots could be clicking because
that's the thing. Like then Mac Jones will be clicking towards the end of the season. Like I've got them finishing out the season
rookie of the year.
I've got them finishing out the year 4-0. That's how I have them finishing out the year with wins against Colts, Bills, Jags, and Dolphins. You know, like you can just see that happening.
I think Mac Jones has a shot to be rookie of the year with the team he's on.
Yeah, like Mac Jones is in a very good situation for him. Mac Jones is everybody's saying in Alabama he's actually more talented than Tua, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a.
Sometimes I think that's prisoner of the moment. You know?
Yeah, of course.
For him, I think Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are kind of the same guy.
Yeah, I think he kind of like Mac Jones really works for the Patriots. I think he's a brainy kid. Like you can put him in difficult systems and you can, but what they'll just say to him this season is don't turn the ball over. That's his high and lows. He'll have highs and lows, but he won't get beat by the system. He won't be beat in the system.
You'll remember this. You remember when Dak took over for Tony Romo right away? And this isn't a shot. This is what you do if you protect young quarterbacks. Your job is do not turn the ball over and pick up third down. That's it. Yeah. You're getting paid for third down. That's about it right
now. Yeah, of course. And Mac Jones is a really smart kid by all accounts. He really knows he really knows what he's doing, where to go with the football. It's the losses that I've got them here, they're still going to the playoffs in my book. The losses that I've got them having here is what are they Like, what are they going to be like if they can't run the ball, or if somebody's tight on their system? Can Mac Jones carry them? And we'll see what happens. And like, I do believe that Mac Jones is a better fit than Cam Newton, especially with Cam Newton's vaccination status and stuff like that. Like, it was a weird fit for me anyway, with the kind of, they're two totally different players. Like, Cam is the system when Cam
for
plays.
me, and I they'll never do it, but right now they're talking about Cam as a backup, and I don't want to get too far off, but I think Cam's the only place he fits as a backup is in Baltimore. And with Mac Jones, there's reports that he was actually teaching Cam Newton the playbook.
Yeah, and you can see that. I like, Cam isn't stupid either. He just plays the game in a different way. Like,
correct.
Everybody's really shitting on Cam and they're saying he's stupid and that he didn't understand the system. You don't get to where he is when you're dumb. Like, Bill Belichick's not going to pick you up if you're stupid.
Correct. Yes.
Like, he's a smart guy. He just sees the game differently to how New England see it. Cam is the system. Mac Jones fits the system. And New England is a system destination. And the system in Miami is very similar. And they have a quarterback who's very similar, who we've already talked about. And he's going to be a big component of their success. It's the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, I've got them going 11-6 as well. I see them as very, very similar teams.
That's funny. You know how you have the Pats going 11-6 and I have them 10-7? I have the Dolphins 10-7.
10-7. They're very similar teams. They're ridiculous.
I think they're going to go one of two ways, though. They're either Tua's going to get better and they're going to keep clicking, or they're going to be a freaking dumpster fire.
Yeah, I don't think
there'll be a dumpster fire, but I've been reading, and it's hard to tell what's true right now. But I have been reading some of the players aren't in love with Flores anymore. Yeah,
but I mean, none of the players are in love with Bill Belichick, but Flores has shown that his idea, like, it was what we were talking about with Joe Judge in the NFC East. Like, they haven't won anything, whereas at least Miami won games last year. Like, other years they would have been in the playoffs with the way that they played last year and the record that they had last year. Like, they won games for the first time in a long time. Since I've been really passionate about the NFL over the last 5-6 years, Miami have been garbage and they finally started to win again. So players will not like Brian Flores, but will deal with Brian Flores because they know he gets results.
Yeah, and I think Tua's good this year. For Tua is an audition for 31 other teams. Yeah. Because this is just me. I'm a firm believer. Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I'm a firm believer.
That's the key, isn't it? I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean, yes, like, obviously
you never know
if it becomes available and stuff like that. But then the Eagles are going to have a better picks than the Dolphins. The football team have got better packages to offer in terms of player trades and stuff like that. A lot of NFC East teams, which scares me shitless, to be perfectly honest.
A lot of it has to do with if Deshaun Watson is going to show up.
Yeah.
He's going to have a little bit of say in where he goes. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. I think it's Miami.
Miami's a really good fit for him. Miami's a fantastic fit. But for this season, it's not like they've built the team thinking, this season will be this season, and then we'll have Deshaun Watson, because otherwise they wouldn't have.
Maybe Tua balls out. Maybe Tua balls out, and they're like, "No, we don't want Deshaun Watson."
They planned the season for Tua Tagovailoa. That's who they've planned it for. You can see by their really impressive offseason. By the way, I think me and you both kind of graded Miami as the top team in the draft and how they drafted. Maybe the Browns kind of getting on that as well. Like, we liked how the Browns drafted as well. But Tua will be more confident in his second year. It's not. So a lot of people are talking about Justin Herbert's second-year slump. It's very different, Tua and Justin Herbert, because Tua didn't play as much, and we didn't see as much of Tua as we did for Herbert. So it's very difficult to plan for Tua. With the way that they've built their team, they've added a lot more weapons. I love the pickup of Devontae. I love Devontae Parker. Sorry, not the pickup. I love the pickup of Jalen Waddle. Like, that's a great pickup for them. Their team has a lot of weapons in it now and has a great offensive line. And Brian Flores is going to have that defensive line running around destroying defensive systems. That's their entire MO. And then they've got enough weapons for Tua to just dink and duck, and then hopefully he'll have more confidence to just take those throws and not leave as much yardage on the field like he did last season.
Obviously, this is super simplification and it's way more in depth than that. But the Dolphins' defense is speed and hit you in the mouth.
Yeah, and that's a great way to go. That's how.
Yes.
That's how a lot of teams like set up initially. Like every team has its little nuances and things like that. And like I would say I'd be more of an offensive coach. Like when I play rugby, I think offense and stuff like that. Like defense isn't really my bag, to be perfectly honest. Like I can appreciate when guys run around smashing each other in the mouths. I absolutely love it. But when it comes to offense, that's where I'm stronger. So the way I watch defenses is how they run to the ball, the passion, and how they get straight to the ball. I can kind of see them as a team where they'll have a lot of weird wins and a lot of weird losses as well. So
and they'll be fighting for the playoffs. Yeah,
so like they'll beat the Patriots, but they could lose to the Panthers or that kind of situation. Like they'll put up a good game against the Bucks, but then they'll lose to the Saints or something like that, like that kind of game.
Predictions are really weird this year because as of last year, we have an extra playoff team on each side. Now there's an extra game. So my 35 years, because you're probably 8 when you really get into something, right? My 40 years of life, I've been watching football, and I don't even know how to even guess. Is it 11-6 that gets you in? Is it 10-7? Is it 9-8?
Yeah, exactly. Like they missed the playoffs on 10-7 last year. Like like our 3 teams from this division going to go into the playoffs. Well, with the AFC West, so we'll cover in another video. Then you're thinking, oh well, they can beat everybody, like all the teams in the AFC West. So I'm saying all the Patriots will get in with the 11-6, all the Dolphins will get in with 11-6, but I'm not actually entirely sure. I will see what happens. But one team that we probably know aren't going to get into the playoffs, the New York Jets. I'm excited about them.
So you know how every team now does, not every team, but a lot of teams do like their own personal Hard Knocks thing.
Yeah.
Dude, the Jets have one on YouTube. I've been watching it. Man, I love Robert Saleh. I love that man.
Yeah.
And Zach Wilson, I've been pounding the drum for. I think it might be as good as Bill. It's still preseason and practice. I have them winning, and I think this is huge. I have them winning 5 games this year.
Yeah, I have them winning 4. Like I'm not saying they're garbage. Like out of the teams that have been traditionally garbage for the last couple of years, the Jags, Texans, that kind of level of team where they've been very much intertwined with each other, and it's all about not losing the most games out of those guys, then the Jets are going to have the best season, even if that does mean, even if they do lose more games than the Jags are in an easier division. They'll probably get 2 because of the Texans, like the Jets are in a much more difficult division. Like we're talking about the other 3 that are in their division. We're saying playoffs. Like if you put the Jets in the NFC South, or if you put them in the AFC South, if you put them in the NFC East, that kind of caliber, then maybe they'd pick up even more wins. But I think they're going to be so good at the end of the season. I think that offense they could really do with a couple more weapons, obviously, but I think Zach Wilson's going to make some stupid plays by the end of the season, like really good. Their offensive line will start to click by the end of the season, that kind of stuff. They kind of just got unlucky with their last 5 games are Saints, Dolphins away, Jags, Bucks, Bills away. Like that's a horrible way to finish. If they took their start where they've got Panthers, Pats at home, Broncos, Titans, Falcons, and then Bengals later on, and switched it in so that they could have that as their following, and like they'd be much happier. They'd probably be winning a lot more games.
But I look at it as if, so this is a weird way to put it, but so they know they ain't going to the playoffs. They know they're not going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And yes, everybody wants to win, but for the coaches, I think what you want to see by the end of the year is my offense is clicking, my defense is getting it. And now it's not preseason, but it's almost a season of preseason for them, because they can see evaluate their talent and go, we need to upgrade here. We're better here than we thought. And I think within the next couple years, if they do it right with the pieces they have, might be talking about them like we're talking about the Browns right now.
Yeah, or the Dolphins 2 years ago, where
Right.
they're gonna be picking high. They're gonna be picking high in the draft, so you can fix a lot of your issues that you have when you're picking high in the draft. You can fix your issues with top quality draft picks. They'll be picking high in the draft for the next 2, maybe 3 years with the strength of their division. So they're going to be picking high, so they can fix a lot of problems. They just need to see what players they've got. Have they got dogs? Have they got ballers? Have they got those kind of guys? See what they've got, and then work on that. I think this will be Jets fans. You're not going to have a winning season, but you're going to have a good season. Now,
I was just going to say, yeah. Jets fans, you're going to get your ass whooped a whole lot, but you're going to be happy at the end of the year. Yeah. So we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, in the UK, in the States, I feel like it's kind of NFC Championship, AFC Championship, Super Bowls, bust, like that kind of thing. You write off seasons if it's not. But in European sports, and especially in British sports, you can finish, because we have such a disparity in wealth and stuff like that. You can finish mid-table and say, hey, I was good. You can get beat 3-0 and say, well, we should have probably been getting beat 6-0. So, you can have those games. Do you remember when
last year for the Browns was a win?
Yeah. Do you remember when I text you saying, oh, England just played the US in rugby and the US lost by 40 points. That's pretty good for them. And you went, how can it be pretty good when you get beat by 40 points? It's like, well, no, you're building, you're improving the vision down the line. There's such a disparity in wealth. There's such a disparity in quality between the Jets and the Bills and their division and stuff. So they can win games this year, but hope that you just want to be hoping that your team's winning by less than 10. Losing by less than 10. They want to be at that kind of level, or fighting tooth and nail for everyone, not getting blown off the park like normal.
Absolutely. I think that the AFC East is going to be exciting to watch this year.
I'm excited for that division.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that we're going to see a lot of good football from losing teams, even like we were talking.
Yeah.
And I think those fan bases have a lot to be excited about, like every fan base in that division right now. So it should be interesting. But I think we both agree we're all going to watch and see what happens with the Patriots. That's must-see TV, because we all expect the Bills to be in it at the end. And yeah,
it's are the Patriots good? Was it all Tom Brady? Holy shit, the Patriots are good again. What the fuck are we going to do?
And then the whole world will be mad.
And then I'll be so pissed off. You have absolutely no idea how annoyed I'll be if the Patriots are still good somehow. It'll really tip me off.
Well, I think we got it, Maddie. I think we covered it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. And again, thanks for following us on Facebook. Please take your asses over to YouTube and subscribe. We need more play over there. All right, guys. Keep your eyes open. We'll be back with the AFC South. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.